I've walked these grounds every night for 3 years. I know every shadow, every sound, every squeaky gate hinge and flickering streetlight in this entire community. So when Dr. Henderson's black Escalade pulled through the main gate at midnight on October 24th with the trunk riding low like he was fleeing a natural disaster, I knew something was wrong. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm 34 years old and I'm a night security guard at Riverside Heights, a luxury gated community in suburban Virginia where the cheapest house runs you about $800,000. Before this, I spent 4 years as military police at Fort Bragg. I learned 2 important things in the Army: how to stay alert during boring-ass shifts, and how to recognize when people are scared shitless even when they're trying to hide it. Dr. Henderson was scared shitless. It was 11:47 p.m. when I started my shift. October nights in Virginia have this crisp edge to them, not quite cold enough for a heavy jacket, but enough to make you appreciate hot coffee. I had my usual setup in the security booth, 16-camera monitor array showing every angle of the community, logbook open to a fresh page, thermos of black coffee, and my Glock 19 locked in the desk drawer where it had sat untouched for 3 years. The job was mind-numbing most nights. Check the cameras, walk the perimeter, wave at insomniacs taking their dogs out, write down absolutely nothing interesting in the logbook. Go home at 7 a.m. and try to sleep while the rest of the world was waking up. I didn't mind it. After the Army, after dealing with drunk privates and domestic disputes and the occasional actual threat, boring was good. Boring was safe. Boring meant I could do my job, collect my paycheck, and not have to deal with people more than absolutely necessary. The only real interaction I looked forward to was feeding Duchess. Duchess was a calico stray who'd claimed the area behind the maintenance shed as her territory about 6 months ago. She was skinny, standoffish, and had this look in her eyes like she'd seen some shit. We understood each other. Every night around midnight, I'd take my first patrol and leave a can of Fancy Feast by the shed. She'd watch me from the shadows, wait until I was 20 feet away, then slink out and eat. We had a system. It worked. That night, I'd just finished my initial camera check and was heading out for the Duchess feeding when Henderson's SUV rolled through. The gate sensor logged it automatically. 11:52 p.m. resident entry Henderson Robert. Nothing unusual about that. People came home late sometimes. But through my booth window, I watched him pull into his driveway, and that's when I saw it. The trunk was packed. And I don't mean we went to Costco packed. I mean plastic storage bins stacked to the roof, cases of bottled water, boxes that looked like they came from a medical supply store. His wife Patricia got out of the passenger seat and immediately started unloading with this quick, efficient energy that people get when they're trying to finish something before they get caught. I watched for another minute, then made a note in the logbook. 11:52 p.m., Henderson residence, unusual cargo volume, noted for pattern recognition. Military habits die hard. In the MP Corps, we were trained to notice patterns. 1 weird thing is just weird. 2 weird things is a coincidence. 3 weird things is a pattern, and patterns mean something's happening. I filed it away and went to feed Duchess. She was waiting in her usual spot, green eyes reflecting my flashlight beam. I set down the can, stepped back, and waited. "Hey girl," I said quietly. "Another exciting night in paradise, huh?" She didn't respond, obviously. She never did. But she also didn't run away, which for Duchess was basically a declaration of love. I left her to her meal and continued the patrol. Riverside Heights at midnight was like a movie set after everyone's gone home. Perfectly landscaped, strategically lit, completely empty. 240 homes arranged in a neat grid, all of them worth more than I'd make in 5 years. Tonight, though, something felt off. Maybe it was Henderson's cargo. Maybe it was the fact that when I swung by on my 1 a.m. patrol, they were still unloading. Maybe it was the way the wind sounded different, like the air itself was holding its breath. Or maybe I was just paranoid. Wouldn't be the first time. I finished the patrol at 1:30 a.m., logged it, and settled back into the booth to watch my monitors. 16 different camera angles, all showing absolutely nothing happening, except every 20 minutes, I found myself clicking back to camera 4, the one with a partial view of Henderson's backyard. I watched them make trip after trip from the garage into their house, hauling supplies like they were prepping for the apocalypse. Just rich people being weird, I muttered to myself. Probably some Y2K-style doomsday prep bullshit they read about on some conspiracy forum. But Dr. Robert Henderson wasn't some random rich guy. He was a CDC epidemiologist. He worked at some government disease research facility. I'd chatted with him exactly twice in 3 years, once when he locked himself out, once when his kid's basketball went over the fence. Both times he struck me as the kind of guy who dealt in facts, not conspiracy theories. So why was he acting like the world was about to end? The rest of my shift passed slowly. At 7 a.m., Kyle Brennan showed up for the day shift. Kyle was 28, enthusiastic about absolutely everything, and had the kind of personality that made me want to hide in a closet. "Yo, Marcus, how was the night, man? Anything crazy happen?" "Quiet," I said, gathering my stuff. "Same as always." "Nice, nice. Hey, you catch the game last night? Capitals fucking crushed it, dude." "Didn't watch." I headed for the door. "Aw, man, you missed out. Anyway, have a good sleep, bro." I left without responding. Kyle was a good kid, but we were not friends. We were not bros. We were co-workers who happened to occupy the same booth at different times. I drove home to my apartment, ate leftover Chinese food, and tried to sleep. But I kept thinking about Henderson's SUV packed full of supplies, pulling into his driveway at midnight like he was running from something. I didn't sleep well. The next night, October 25th, more residents were acting strange. I logged in at 11:45 p.m. and immediately checked the cameras. Camera 9 showed the Johnsons' house, and their driveway was empty. Both cars gone, along with the decorative planters that had been there yesterday. The house looked abandoned. Camera 12 showed the Millers boarding up their windows. Boarding up their windows. These were $800,000 homes in a gated community with 24/7 security, and the Millers were boarding up their windows like they were expecting a hurricane in Virginia in October. I grabbed my radio. "Kyle, you see anything weird on yesterday's day shift? Millers mention anything about, I don't know, construction?" "Static then." "Nah, man, quiet day. Why?" "Nothing. Never mind." I clicked off and stared at the monitor. The Millers were moving with purpose. John Miller on a ladder, his wife Janet handing him plywood sheets. Their teenage daughter was carrying boxes from the garage into the house. Pattern recognition. That's 3 weird things now. I spent October 26th, my day off, doing something I hadn't done in years. Research. I sat in my apartment with my laptop and searched for anything about Fort Detrick, the Army's disease research facility in Maryland, about an hour north of here. Nothing on the news, nothing official. But the dark web, that was a different story. I'm not some hacker or conspiracy nut, but 4 years in the MPs teaches you where to look when official channels aren't talking. There were whispers, rumors, unverified posts on encrypted forums talking about a containment breach at Fort Detrick. Something about a test subject, a failed protocol spreading faster than expected. Could have been bullshit. Probably was bullshit. But Dr. Robert Henderson worked in disease control, and he was preparing for something. I grabbed my phone and pulled up my saved security footage. I'd archived 3 days of camera feeds. Standard protocol. I went through them systematically, tracking every vehicle in and out of Riverside Heights. Henderson residence, 47 trips to various stores over 72 hours. Home Depot, Costco, a medical supply warehouse, a sporting goods store. Patricia Henderson had made a run to a pharmacy and came back with 4 large bags. The Millers, similar pattern, mass supply purchases, all within the last 3 days. The Johnsons packed up and left, just left, permanently by the looks of it. My military paranoia kicked into overdrive. If a CDC scientist was prepping for something and multiple families were either fortifying or fleeing, then something was coming. Something real. I thought about the maintenance bunker. Most people didn't know it existed. Hell, I'd only found it by accident 6 months ago when I was doing a routine inspection of the facility blueprints. Riverside Heights was built in 1957, back when Cold War paranoia was at its peak. The original developer had installed a small fallout shelter beneath the maintenance shed, probably meant for the groundskeeper or something. When the community was renovated in 2010, the bunker was forgotten, sealed off, considered a historical quirk. But I had the master key, and I'd been down there. It was small, maybe 15 by 20 feet, but it was concrete, underground, and completely isolated. The entrance was hidden under a false floor panel in the maintenance shed. There was even an old ventilation system that still worked. If something really was coming, that bunker could be survival. I made a list: non-perishables, water, first aid, batteries, my Glock, and as much ammo as I could legally buy. A water filtration system, blankets, a battery-powered radio, books, anything that could last months in isolation. Then I cashed my entire paycheck, 2400s, and hit 4 different stores across 2 counties. Walmart, REI, a Army surplus store, a small grocer in the next town over. I bought in small quantities at each place, nothing that would raise eyebrows. Just another guy doing some camping prep. By the evening of October 27th, I had everything staged in my apartment. The next step was moving it to the bunker without anyone noticing. That night at work, I started the transfer. 11:30 p.m. to 2 a.m., I made 7 trips from my car to the maintenance shed carrying duffel bags and boxes. The shed was in a camera blind spot. I'd known that for months. I unlocked the shed, pulled up the false floor panel, and descended the metal ladder into darkness. The bunker smelled like mold and concrete and decades of sealed air. I flipped on my flashlight and got to work, organizing supplies along the wall. Canned food, water jugs, medical kit, ammunition boxes, a portable camping stove with propane, sleeping bag. Everything I might need if the world went to shit. On my 4th trip, I heard a soft meow behind me. Duchess was sitting at the top of the ladder, looking down at me with those judgmental green eyes. "You can't be down here," I whispered. She meowed again and started descending the ladder. Cats are surprisingly good climbers. She made it down, sniffed around the bunker, then settled on the sleeping bag like she owned the place. I should have taken her back up, should have locked the shed and kept her out. But I didn't. "Fine," I muttered. "You can stay, but you're not eating my rations." I made one more trip to my car and grabbed the bag of cat food I'd bought, just in case. Set up a makeshift litter box in the corner using a plastic bin and some sand I'd found in the shed. By 3 a.m., the bunker was stocked. Duchess was asleep on my sleeping bag, and I was sitting on a folding chair, staring at my supplies, wondering if I'd lost my mind. Maybe Henderson was just a paranoid CDC guy. Maybe the Millers watched too much news. Maybe I was spending my life savings on canned beans and bottled water for absolutely no reason. My phone buzzed. News alert. CDC issues travel advisory for Maryland, Virginia region. Respiratory illness outbreak. I stared at the screen. Then I climbed out of the bunker, locked the shed, and went back to the guard booth. My hands were shaking as I poured coffee. On camera 4, the Henderson house was dark. Everyone asleep. On camera 12, the Millers had finished boarding their windows. On camera 9, the Johnson house sat empty. And somewhere north of here, something was spreading. I pulled out my logbook and wrote, October 27th, 11:47 p.m., prepared for potential emergency scenario. Maybe overreacting. Hope I am. But I didn't believe that last part. October 28th started like any other shift, except nothing felt normal. I arrived at 11:45 p.m. and the community was different. You know that feeling before a storm hits? That electric tension in the air where even the birds shut up? It was like that. Camera feeds showed porch lights on at twice as many houses as usual. People were awake, waiting. Kyle had left me a note in the logbook. Bunch of residents asking about extra security tonight. Told them everything's fine. You might get questions. K. Everything was not fine. I settled into the booth and turned on the news. Every channel was covering it now. Not just some local respiratory illness, but a full-scale outbreak. Hospitals in Maryland overwhelmed. CDC holding emergency press conferences, National Guard deployed to maintain order and assist with medical logistics. The official story was calm, measured, professional. The videos coming from people's phones told a different story. Hospitals packed with screaming patients. Ambulances lined up for blocks. One shaky video showed what looked like a patient attacking a nurse, and it took 3 orderlies to pull them off. The comments section was going insane. Half the people were calling it mass hysteria. The other half were saying to stock up and stay inside. I checked my cameras. At 6:47 a.m., almost time for Kyle to show up, the main gate traffic started. Camera 1 showed a line of vehicles, SUVs packed with belongings, sedans with roof carriers, even a moving truck. Residents were leaving. By 7 a.m., 12 families had driven out, just gone. Kyle showed up at 7:15 late, looking panicked. "Dude, what the fuck is happening?" He burst into the booth, wild-eyed. "My girlfriend's freaking out. Her mom's blowing up her phone saying we need to leave the city." "Calm down," I said. "Calm down. Marcus, have you seen the news? They're saying it's in D.C. now. That's like 40 minutes away. They're saying it's a respiratory illness. Could be flu, could be..." "It's not the fucking flu." Kyle ran his hands through his hair. "I saw a video, man. A video. This guy was attacking people at a hospital and they couldn't stop him and..." "Kyle." I stood up, using my command voice from the army. "You need to breathe. Panicking doesn't help." He stared at me, chest heaving. "We should leave. Both of us. Just abandon the post and get out of the city." "And go where?" "I don't know. Anywhere but here." I thought about the bunker, about my supplies, about the fact that whatever was coming, I was as ready as I could be. "You do what you need to do," I said quietly. "But I'm staying." "You're insane." Kyle grabbed his phone and keys. "I'm out, man. I'm not sticking around to see how this plays out." He left, didn't even clock in, just walked out of the booth and drove away. I never saw him again. The day shift became my problem. I stayed in the booth watching the cameras, watching the news, watching Riverside Heights slowly empty out. By noon, the gate traffic was a jam. 30 vehicles backed up, all trying to leave at once. I had to go out and manually override the gate system to keep it open. Residents barely looked at me as they drove past, their cars packed with everything they could carry. Some of them looked terrified, some looked determined. One guy, Richard Kowalski from Building D, just looked resigned. "Take care, Marcus," he said through his window. "You too, sir." His 10-year-old daughter was in the back seat clutching a stuffed elephant, staring at nothing. By 2 p.m., Riverside Heights was a ghost town. Out of 240 residences, maybe 40 still had people in them. I could see them on the cameras, lights on, movement behind windows, but no one coming outside. The Henderson house was one of them. Camera 4 showed their SUV still in the driveway, windows boarded up now. They'd barricaded themselves in. Smart. At 4 p.m. I made my decision. I locked the guard booth, took my gear, my Glock, my radio, my logbook, the facility master keys. Walked across the empty community to the maintenance shed. The sun was setting. Golden light stretched across perfectly manicured lawns that no one was around to enjoy anymore. It was beautiful and eerie and wrong. I unlocked the shed, descended into the bunker, and sealed the hatch above me. Duchess was already down there, curled up on the sleeping bag. "Looks like it's you and me, girl," I said. She blinked slowly, the cat version of obviously. I set up my monitoring station, laptop connected to a battery bank, hooked into the community's security camera network via a Wi-Fi repeater I'd installed. 4 cameras had battery backup. Camera 1, main gate. Camera 4, Henderson House. Camera 7, Central Courtyard. And Camera 12, Miller House. The rest would die when the power grid failed. I turned on my battery-powered radio and scanned through frequencies. News stations were still broadcasting, but the tone had changed. Less, "Stay calm," and more, "Stay inside, lock your doors, do not approach anyone displaying symptoms." Symptoms listed: high fever, erratic behavior, aggression, clouded eyes. I pulled out my phone and checked social media one last time before my signal died. Twitter was chaos. People posting videos, begging for help, sharing survival tips. One video showed a crowd of people, maybe 30, stumbling down a street in Baltimore, moving wrong, chasing someone. The video cut off with screaming. Another video, a hospital waiting room, a woman convulsing on the floor while medical staff tried to hold her down. Her eyes were clouded, completely white. I closed the app. Some things you can't unsee. By 6 p.m. I was settled in, supplies organized, Duchess fed, radio on low volume playing emergency broadcasts. By 7 p.m. the sun was down. By 8 p.m. I saw them on the cameras. Camera 7, Central Courtyard, showed movement. At first I thought it was a resident, maybe someone making a supply run. Then I zoomed in. Raymond Clark from Building C. 72 years old, retired accountant, always wore cardigans and said good evening whenever I passed by on patrol. Raymond was stumbling across the courtyard, clothes torn, blood on his face and hands. I watched him move. It wasn't right. He jerked and twitched like his body was controlled by someone who'd never used a body before. His pace was too fast, too aggressive. Camera 7 tracked him as he approached the main gate. A car was trying to get through. The Reyes family, I recognized their Honda. Raymond lunged. What happened next lasted maybe 30 seconds but felt like hours. Raymond grabbed the driver, Mr. Reyes, through the open window and bit into his neck. Just bit him. Like an animal. Blood sprayed across the windshield. Mrs. Reyes screamed from the passenger seat. Raymond pulled Mr. Reyes halfway out of the car, tearing at him with hands and teeth. The car rolled forward, hitting the gate. Raymond fell, got back up, attacked again. Mr. Reyes stopped moving. Mrs. Reyes scrambled out of the passenger side, running. Raymond didn't follow her. He was too focused on Mr. Reyes, but Mr. Reyes wasn't dead. I watched, frozen, horrified, as Mr. Reyes's body started convulsing. 30 seconds, maybe 40. Then he sat up. His eyes were clouded, white. He stood and started walking, not toward anything in particular, just walking, searching. Mrs. Reyes had made it maybe 50 feet before another figure appeared on camera. Someone I didn't recognize, already infected, and tackled her. She went down screaming. I watched her get bitten, watched her fight, watched her lose. 4 minutes later, she stood up, clouded eyes, jerking movements. Now there were 3 of them. I leaned back from the laptop screen, heart hammering, and threw up into my trash can. Duchess watched me with mild concern. "It's real," I whispered. "Holy shit, it's real." I grabbed my radio and scanned frequencies: emergency broadcasts, military chatter, civilian distress calls. Everyone was reporting the same thing. The infected were attacking people, spreading it through bites, turning victims within minutes. Minutes, not hours, not days. Minutes. I thought about Dr. Henderson's warning overheard a week ago. Containment failed, 72 hours maximum before it reaches metropolitan areas. He'd understated it. This wasn't spreading to metropolitan areas. This was the metropolitan area. I forced myself to keep watching the cameras. Over the next 2 hours, I counted 6 more infected wandering through Riverside Heights. Some came from outside the community. Some were residents who'd been bitten and turned. By 10 p.m., I could see survivors barricaded in buildings. Building B had lights on in at least 4 units. The Henderson house was sealed tight. The Miller house, boarded windows, showed movement inside. By 11:47 p.m., exactly 12 hours since I'd started my shift, the community had 30 infected visible on my 4 cameras. The world had ended in less than a day. I pulled out a blank notebook and started writing. Audio log, I guess. Something to document what was happening. This is Marcus Webb, October 28, 2024, Day 1. If anyone finds this recording, here's what you need to know. I'm not a hero. I'm not a survivor expert. I'm a 34-year-old security guard who got lucky and paranoid in the right proportions. The world ended today. Some kind of virus, maybe military, maybe natural, doesn't matter now. It spreads through bites. Infection takes 15 to 45 minutes depending on the wound. Victims lose speech, cognitive function, and become violently aggressive. Their eyes turn white, clouded. They hunt by sound and movement. I'm in a bunker beneath Riverside Heights community. I have 90 days of supplies, 4 working cameras, a cat named Duchess. And more questions than answers. This is not a survival guide. This is a witness account. I made choices. People died because I didn't help them. I don't know if I'm a coward or pragmatic or both. If you're listening to this, I'm probably dead, or worse, but I'm alive now, Day 1, and I'm going to keep recording until I can't anymore. I set down the pen and stared at my laptop screen. Camera 4 showed the Henderson house, dark and barricaded. Camera 7 showed infected wandering the courtyard. Camera 1 showed the gate smashed and open, bodies scattered nearby. Camera 12 showed the Miller house, lights on, a shadow moving past the window. Somewhere above me, maybe 20 feet up, an infected was moaning. The sound filtered through the concrete, distant, inhuman, wrong. Duchess climbed onto my lap and started purring. I held her like a lifeline. "We're going to be okay," I whispered. I didn't believe it. October 29th, Day 2. I woke up at 600 hours military habit and immediately checked the cameras. The power was still on. Small miracle. Camera count, 42 infected visible across my 4 camera angles. They were everywhere now, wandering the streets, gathered near buildings, clustering around the gate where the Reyes family had died. Some were fresh, moving fast with aggressive jerking motions. Others looked degraded, slower, more decayed, probably infected for 12+ hours. I made coffee using my camping stove. Real coffee, not instant shit. If the world was ending, I wasn't drinking instant. Duchess ate her breakfast and watched me with those judgy eyes like, "You're taking this remarkably well for someone who watched people turn into zombies last night." "They're not zombies," I said out loud. "They're infected. There's a difference." Was there, though? They were dead on the inside, hunting the living, spreading through bites. Close enough to zombies for government work. I spent the morning establishing a routine. Mental Health 101, structure prevents breakdown. 0600, wake up, check camera. 0615, feed Duchess, make coffee. 0630, physical exercise. Push-ups, sit-ups, bodyweight squats. Can't let muscles atrophy. 0730, breakfast, protein bar, water. 0800, radio scan, check for broadcasts. 0900, camera surveillance and note-taking. 1200, lunch, canned soup, crackers. 1300, 1600, surveillance, reading, maintenance. 1800, dinner, MRE or canned protein. 1900, 2200, surveillance, audio log, mental health check. 2200, sleep, 4-hour blocks, never deep. Rinse, repeat, survive. The internet still worked, barely. Bandwidth was shit, pages loaded slow, but it was there. I pulled up news sites. CNN, nationwide quarantine declared, avoid all public spaces. Fox News, military establishes safe zones, FEMA camps at capacity. Local news, Virginia governor declares state of emergency, National Guard deployed. The comment sections were worse than the articles, people begging for information about missing family members, others claiming government conspiracy. Some posting addresses of safe houses or evacuation routes, definitely scams or death traps. One Reddit thread caught my eye. Infection timeline, crowdsourced data. I clicked through. Someone was compiling reports from all over the country, tracking the progression. Bite to symptoms, 15-45 minutes average. Symptoms to full turn, 2-5 minutes. Infected behavior. Attracted to sound and movement. No problem-solving skills, no pack tactics, just coincidental grouping. Threat level. Individual infected manageable with preparation. Groups of 5+ overwhelming. Kill method. Brain destruction only. Body shots don't stop them. I copied the info into my notebook. Knowledge was survival. At 1,000 hours, the radio crackled to life. All military personnel report to designated rally points. FEMA evacuation camps at locations Bravo 7 and Delta 12 now at 150% capacity. Civilian evacuation efforts suspended until further. Static. CDC confirms infection is 100% fatal, no cure, no vaccine, no immunity. Repeat, no immunity has been observed. More static than a different voice. Reports of infected breaching the perimeter at Fort McHenry, requesting immediate air support, multiple casualties. Oh God, they're in the building. Screaming, gunfire, then nothing. I turned the radio down and sat in the silence of the bunker. No immunity, no cure, no help coming. This was it, permanent apocalypse. I thought about the survivors on my cameras. The Hendersons barricaded in their basement, the Millers in their boarded house, the handful of people in Building B. How long could they last? What happened when their food ran out? What happened when mine did? I had 90 days of supplies, 90 days to figure out a next step, 90 days to hope for rescue that wasn't coming. At 1300 hours, I watched a survivor die. Camera 7, Central Courtyard. A man I didn't recognize ran from Building B toward a car in the parking lot. He was carrying a duffel bag, moving fast, trying to escape. He made it maybe 50 feet. 6 infected appeared from different directions, converging on the sound of his footsteps. He saw them, tried to run faster, but they were fast. The fresh ones, at least. They swarmed him. I should have looked away. Didn't. He fought. Used the duffel bag as a weapon, hit one infected hard enough to knock it down. But there were too many. They grabbed him, pulled him down, bit into his arms and legs and neck. He was screaming. I couldn't hear it, no audio on the cameras, but I could see it. 30 seconds later, he stopped moving. 2 minutes later, he stood up, clouded eyes, jerking motions. Now there were 43 infected on my cameras. I logged it in my notebook. Day 2, 1300 hours, unknown survivor from Building B. Attempted escape, failed, infected. Current count, 43 visible. Deceased count, at least 60, estimated from missing residents. The numbers were clinical, detached. That was the only way to handle it. At 1900 hours, the lights flickered. I held my breath watching my laptop screen. The lights flickered again, held, then stabilized. The power grid was failing. Could be hours, could be days, but it was coming. I did an inventory check. Battery banks, 6 units fully charged, enough to power laptop and cameras for 7-10 days. Backup batteries, 60 AA, 48 AA, fuel, 4 propane canisters for camping stove, light sources, 3 LED lanterns, 2 flashlights, 40 tea candles, food, 87 days at current ration, water, 73 days, have filtration system for underground spring water, extends to 200+ days. I could survive the power loss. Cameras would eventually die, but I'd be alive. At 2200 hours, I tried to sleep. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the man in the courtyard getting torn apart. Saw Raymond biting into Mr. Reyes. Saw Mrs. Reyes's clouded eyes. Duchess curled up against my chest, purring. "You're taking this better than me," I whispered. She purred louder. Cat translation. Obviously. October 30th, day 3. The radio broadcasts were getting sporadic. I caught 3 transmissions all day. Morning. Military evacuation routes compromised. Recommend civilian shelter in place. Afternoon. CDC confirms infection spreads through all bodily fluids, blood, saliva, any open wound contact. Evening. FEMA camps in Virginia have been overrun. Repeat, do not approach FEMA camps. So that was it. No rescue, no safe zones, just survival. I spent the day watching my cameras, taking notes on infected behavior. Observations. Day 3. Infected don't attack each other. Can't tell friend from food somehow. Fresh infected, 0-24 hours, move fast, aggressive, dangerous. Degraded infected, 24+ hours, slower but persistent. Don't seem to tire. Sound attracts them more than sight. Tested by throwing a rock on camera 7. 6 infected converged on impact point. They cluster accidentally near stimulus points. Gate area has 15+ because that's where action happened. No problem solving. 1 infected walked into a fence repeatedly for 20 minutes before wandering away. They were dangerous but stupid. That was useful information. Building B was active. I counted movement in 4 separate units. They were alive, barricaded, conserving resources probably. The Henderson house showed occasional shadows. Still alive. The Miller house stayed lit 24/7. Either they had a generator or they were burning through battery power fast. At 1500 hours, I saw something that made my stomach drop. Building B, Unit 3. 2nd floor window. Someone was hanging a sheet outside, white bed sheet with spray-painted red letters. Help 4 people running out food. I stared at the screen. 4 people, probably a family, they were starving. I had food, I had supplies, I could help them, I could also die trying. I thought about it for maybe 10 minutes. Ran the scenarios. Scenario A, attempt rescue, exit bunker, high risk, cross 200 yards of open ground to building B, extremely high risk, navigate infected-filled building, suicidal risk, extract 4 people, impossible, return to bunker, can't, too many people, supplies won't stretch. Scenario B, create distraction, allow escape, throw flare or make noise to draw infected away, medium risk. Survivors attempt escape during distraction, their risk, not mine. Return to bunker, low risk. Success rate, maybe 20%. Scenario C, do nothing, stay in bunker, no risk. Watch them starve, certain. Live with guilt, variable. I chose scenario C. I'm not proud of it. I logged it in my notebook. Day 3, 1500 hours. Survivors in Building B Unit 3 requesting help. I have the resources to attempt rescue. I am choosing not to. Survival justification. Risk too high, resources too limited, responsibility to self-preservation. Moral justification. None. I am a coward. Writing it down didn't make me feel better. At 2,000 hours, Building B caught fire. I don't know how it started. Maybe someone knocked over a candle. Maybe they were trying to cook. Doesn't matter. Camera 7 showed smoke pouring from Unit 6. Then flames. Then the fire spread to Unit 5, Unit 4, the whole building going up like kindling. People ran out. I counted 7 survivors fleeing from different entrances. They scattered into the parking lot, into the darkness, anywhere away from the flames. The infected converged. Sound, movement, firelight, everything the infected were attracted to all at once. I watched 3 people get tackled within seconds. The others kept running, out of camera range, into the night. I hope they made it. I didn't see what happened to them. The fire burned all night. Building B was gone by morning. October 31st, Day 4, Halloween. The irony wasn't lost on me. Power failed at 23:47 hours. One moment the lights were on, the next, darkness. My laptop screen was the only illumination. 3 of my 4 cameras went dark immediately. Only camera 4, Henderson House, had a battery backup and it showed 11% charge remaining. I sat in the bunker with Duchess watching my last camera feed in the glow of my laptop screen. The internet was gone. No more news updates, no more social media chaos, no more information from the outside world. The radio was just static now. I scanned frequencies for an hour and found nothing but dead air and occasionally a loop recording. This is an emergency broadcast. Seek shelter, avoid infection, government assistance no longer. Then it would cut out and loop again. At some point, even that stopped. I was alone. Well, not alone. Duchess was here. "Just you and me now, girl," I said. She meowed, which I chose to interpret as "I know." "We've got this." Camera 4 showed the Henderson House in infrared night vision mode. Battery backup included thermal. I could see heat signatures inside. 3 people huddled together in what looked like the basement. Dr. Henderson, Patricia, and Tyler. Still alive. I wondered if they knew they were the only family left in Riverside Heights. Everyone else was either dead, infected, or fled. At midnight, I raised a cup of instant coffee and a mock toast. "Happy Halloween, Marcus. You survived 4 days of the apocalypse. Congrats." Duchess ignored me. She was busy grooming herself. I made an audio log entry. Day 4, October 31st, Halloween. Power grid failed. Communication infrastructure collapsed. I'm operating on battery power now, 7 to 10 days maximum for cameras and laptop. After that, I'll be blind. Building B burned down last night. At least 7 survivors escaped. I didn't help them. I watched them run into infected swarms and did nothing. I'm keeping count of my failures. I don't know why. Maybe guilt? Maybe so whoever finds this knows I wasn't a hero. The Hendersons are still alive. 3 heat signatures on my last camera feed. I could contact them via radio. I have their frequency from old community records. But if I break radio silence, I risk attracting infected or other survivors who might be desperate. I'm choosing silence. Again. Supplies at 83 days. Duchess is healthy. I am managing. Day 4 complete. Signing off. I closed the notebook and turned off my laptop to save battery. The bunker was silent except for Duchess's purring and the very faint sound of infected moaning somewhere above ground. I thought about the world I'd left behind. Bars and restaurants and traffic jams and people complaining about their commutes. All of it gone, replaced by this: darkness, isolation, survival. I wondered if anyone out there was organizing, building communities, fighting back, or if we were all just hiding in holes waiting to starve. I fell asleep thinking about it. When I woke up 6 hours later, it was still dark. It would stay dark for a very long time. November 3rd, day 8. The radio finally died. Not the equipment, the broadcasts. I'd been scanning frequencies for an hour when I realized I hadn't heard a single human voice. No emergency broadcasts, no military chatter, no desperate civilians calling for help. Just static. The world had gone quiet. Camera 4 was down to 3% battery. I'd been rationing its use, only checking the Henderson house twice a day. Still 3 heat signatures, still alive, still barricaded. I'd stopped counting infected, no point. They were everywhere. My routine was holding barely. Wake up, check cameras when battery allowed, feed Duchess, exercise, eat, read, sleep. 4-hour blocks. Never deep sleep, always half awake, listening for sounds of the bunker being discovered. The shed above me got traffic. I could hear infected bumping into it, moaning, wandering past. Sometimes they'd scratch at the door. Sometimes they'd stay for hours, just standing there. I'd learned to recognize the sound of fresh versus degraded infected. Fresh ones moved with aggressive purpose, footsteps quick and jerky. Degraded ones shuffled slow, dragging feet, moaning constantly. The fresh ones were terrifying. The degraded ones were just sad. November 5th, day 10. Camera 4 died. I watched the battery percentage tick down, 2%, 1%, then black. My last view of the outside world was the Henderson house, thermal signatures still showing 3 people in the basement. Then nothing. I sat in the dark for a while, just processing. No cameras meant no information. I was completely blind now. Duchess sensed my mood and climbed onto my lap. "We're okay," I told her. "We don't need cameras, we just need to stay quiet and wait." Wait for what? I didn't know. Food inventory, 76 days remaining. Water, infinite technically. The underground spring was still flowing, my filtration system worked. Sanity, declining. I'd started talking to Duchess more. Full conversations. She'd meow occasionally, and I'd interpret it as responses. "Do you think anyone's left out there?" Meow. "Yeah, I think so too. Probably scattered. Rural areas maybe. People with bunkers like ours." Meow. Right. Focus on what we can control." This was fine. Totally normal behavior. November 7th, day 12. I found the whiskey. I'd packed a bottle of Jim Beam in my supplies, medicinal purposes, and I'd been ignoring it. But day 12 felt like a good day to break the seal. I poured 2 fingers into a metal camping cup and sat on my sleeping bag. "To survival," I said, raising the cup to Duchess. She blinked slowly. Cat judgment. I drank it anyway. The whiskey burned going down, warm and familiar. It reminded me of my army days, late nights at shitty base bars, trading deployment stories, pretending the job wasn't slowly grinding us down. I poured another cup. "You know what the worst part is?" I said to Duchess. "I prepared for this. I saw it coming, and I still didn't help anyone." Meow. "Don't meow me. I watched the Johnsons leave, watched the Millers board up their house, watched Kyle panic, and I didn't warn any of them. Just let them figure it out on their own." Meow. "And the Reyes family, and that guy from Building B, and the 4 people with the help sign." I drank the second cup faster. I could have helped. I had supplies, information, time, but I chose this. I gestured around the bunker. I chose isolation. Duchess walked over and head-butted my hand. "You're right," I said. "Can't change the past. Forward is the only direction." I put the whiskey away. 2 cups was enough. November 10th, day 15, the last radio broadcast. I'd been scanning frequencies out of habit when I caught it, faint, breaking up, but definitely human. This is Master Sergeant Collins, 82nd Airborne. Extraction points compromised. Fort Bragg overrun. Military operations ceasing effective immediately. All personnel are released from duty. God help us all. Static. If anyone's listening, survive. That's the only order left. Survive. More static than nothing. I tried to respond, keyed the radio mic and spoke for the first time in days. This is Marcus Webb, former MP, currently sheltered in Virginia. If anyone's receiving, please respond. Silence. Please. Anyone. Nothing. I set the radio down and sat in the dark. The military was gone. The government was gone. Infrastructure was gone. We were officially alone. I made an audio log entry. Day 15, November 10th. Last radio contact received. Military confirms all operations ceased. No rescue coming. No organization remaining. We are officially post-civilization. I haven't seen sunlight in 2 weeks. Haven't heard another human voice except through radio static. I talk to my cat now. She's a good listener. Supplies at 71 days. Mental health deteriorating. Started doing push-ups until muscle failure just to feel something physical. Pain is good. Pain is real. The Hendersons were alive last time I had camera access. I don't know if they still are. I don't know if anyone is. I'm starting to understand why solitary confinement is considered torture. Day 15 complete. Signing off. I closed the notebook and looked at Duchess. Tomorrow's going to be better, I said. She didn't respond. Smart cat. November 13th, day 18. I woke up screaming. Nightmare. I was being torn apart by infected. Could feel their teeth, their hands, could hear myself screaming. And then I jolted awake in the darkness of the bunker, heart hammering, covered in sweat. Duchess was sitting on my chest, staring at me. Sorry, I gasped. Bad dream. She meowed and started purring. Loud, aggressive purring. The kind that vibrates your whole body. I focused on that sound. Let it anchor me back to reality. Thanks, girl. She settled down on my chest and I laid there, staring up at the concrete ceiling in the darkness, trying to calm my breathing. The nightmares were getting worse. Always the same theme, being infected, turning, losing myself. Last night it was being torn apart. The night before I was the one doing the tearing. I checked my watch. 0400 hours, 2 hours until my scheduled wake-up. I didn't go back to sleep. Instead, I turned on my LED lantern, rationing battery life, and did an inventory check. Not because I needed to, I'd done one yesterday, but because counting supplies was soothing, concrete, controllable. Food, 68 days, 3 cans of soup consumed, 2 protein bars. Water, still infinite, spring flow steady. Propane, 3.5 canisters remaining. Battery power, critical, 1 laptop charge left, LED lanterns at 60%. Ammunition, 47 rounds, haven't fired a single shot. Cat food, 52 days. Duchess has special dietary needs, sensitive stomach. My sanity, questionable. I made a note to be more conservative with lighting. The LED lanterns were my only source beyond candles, and once they died, I'd be in complete darkness except for brief laptop use. At 0600, I started my exercise routine. Push-ups until failure, 47, down from 52 last week, losing strength. Sit-ups, 100 bodyweight squats, 150 burpees, 20 fuck burpees. My body was deteriorating despite the exercise. Not enough calories, not enough space to really move. I was going to come out of this bunker, if I ever did, a shadow of my former self. At 0700, I made breakfast, 1 protein bar, water. Duchess got her half can of special food. We ate in silence. I'm losing it, I told her. You know that, right? Meow. Yeah, I know you know. The bunker felt smaller every day. 15 by 20 feet of concrete that had seemed spacious at first now felt like a coffin. I could walk 7 paces in any direction before hitting a wall. 7 paces, that was my whole world. I tried reading to pass the time. I'd brought 6 books. 1, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, worst choice ever, 2, On the Nose. 2, World War Z by Max Brooks, ironically helpful actually. 3, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, pretentious but calming. 4, The Stand by Stephen King, stopped reading after the superflu section. 5, Into the Wild by John Krakauer, made me miss the outdoors. 6, A Field Guide to Edible Plants, optimistic preparation for eventual exit. I was on my 3rd read-through of Meditations. Marcus Aurelius had some shit figured out. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Easy to say when you're a Roman emperor. Harder when you're in a hole listening to zombies moan above you. November 15th, day 20. Duchess got sick. I woke up to the sound of her vomiting in the corner. She'd thrown up her food and was breathing rapidly, eyes half closed. No, no, no. I scrambled over, turned on my lantern. Hey girl, what's wrong? She meowed weakly. I checked her over, nose slightly warm, breathing shallow, lethargic. Respiratory infection, maybe. The bunker was cold. I'd been conserving propane, and damp air plus stress could definitely make a cat sick. My medical kit had basic antibiotics. I had no idea if human antibiotics worked on cats. I had no internet to check. I had no vet. I had to figure this out myself. I crushed a quarter of an amoxicillin pill, mixed it with a tiny amount of wet food and coaxed her into eating it. Come on, Duchess, you gotta eat, please. She ate a little, not much. I wrapped her in my spare blanket and held her close to my body heat. You're going to be fine, I told her. You're tough. You survived on the streets before I found you. This is nothing. She purred weakly. I didn't sleep that night, just sat there holding her, monitoring her breathing, adjusting the blanket. If she died, if Duchess died, I couldn't finish the thought. She was my anchor. My only connection to something living that wasn't trying to kill me. If she died, I'd be completely alone, and I knew, with absolute certainty, that I wouldn't survive that. November 16th, day 21. Duchess was worse. She wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink, just laid there breathing shallow, eyes closed. I crushed another antibiotic, mixed it with water, used a makeshift syringe, clean plastic bag with a tiny hole to get liquid into her mouth. Swallow, I begged. Please swallow. She did, barely. I stayed up another night, 48 hours without sleep now. I was hallucinating at the edges, seeing movement in shadows, hearing voices that weren't there. But I kept watching her breathe, in, out, in, out. As long as she was breathing, there was hope. November 17th, day 22. She opened her eyes. I was half asleep, still holding her when I felt her move. Her eyes opened, clear, focused, and she meowed. Hey, I said, voice cracking. Hey girl, you're awake. She tried to stand, wobbled, settled back down. I offered her water. She drank a little. I offered food. She sniffed it, ate a few bites. That's it, I said. Good girl, good girl. I started crying, just broke down. Tears running down my face, shoulders shaking, holding a sick cat in a bunker while the world was dead outside, and I didn't care. She was alive, that was enough. By evening, she was moving around more, still weak but improving. I made an audio log. Day 22. Duchess got sick. Respiratory infection, probably. I thought I was going to lose her. I thought I was going to be alone. I've been in this bunker for 3 weeks. I haven't seen another human being. Haven't heard another voice except my own. And I realized she's the only thing keeping me human. Without her, I'm just a guy in a hole hoarding supplies, waiting to die. With her, I'm still Marcus. Still someone who cares about something. She's getting better. I think she'll make it. I don't know if I would have if she hadn't. Day 22 complete. Signing off. I fed her another small meal and settled down to sleep for the first time in 3 days. Duchess curled up against my chest, purring. "We're going to make it," I whispered. "Both of us." She purred louder. I believed it. November 25th, day 30. The temperature dropped. I woke up shivering, breath visible in the air. The bunker had been cool before, but this was different. This was cold, deep, bone-seeping cold that made me want to stay in my sleeping bag forever. I checked my thermometer. 43 degrees. Late November in Virginia. Above ground, it was probably in the 30s at night. Down here, insulated by concrete but with no heating system, the bunker was barely warmer than outside. I had a portable propane heater. I'd been saving it, conserving fuel. Couldn't conserve anymore. I fired it up, set it to low, and huddled next to it with Duchess. She'd recovered from her infection but was still fragile. The cold wasn't helping. "We're going to be okay," I told her. "This is fine. We have heat." I did the math in my head. 3 propane canisters remaining, 1 in use. At low setting, maybe 8 to 10 hours of heat per canister. If I ran the heater 4 hours per day, 2 in morning, 2 before sleep, I could stretch 3 canisters for maybe 6-7 days. 1 week of heat. Then we'd be back to freezing. I made a note to ration even more carefully. December 1st, day 36. First snow. I couldn't see it obviously, but I could hear it. The way sound changed above ground, muffled, quieter, like the world was wrapped in cotton. And I could hear the infected moving slower. Their moaning took on a different quality, less frequent, lower energy, like they were conserving strength. I wondered if cold affected them. Slowed their metabolism? Made them less aggressive? Or maybe there were just fewer of them now. Attrition, starvation, decay. I didn't know. What I did know, my propane was gone. Last canister ran out this morning. I'd stretched it as far as possible, but math is math. Now I had no heat except my own body and Duchess's. I put on every layer of clothing I'd brought. Thermal underwear, 2 shirts, hoodie, jacket. Wrapped myself in my sleeping bag. Wrapped Duchess in a spare blanket and held her close. We shivered together. "This is survival," I told her. "Uncomfortable but manageable. We've got this." She didn't look convinced. December 5th, day 40. Duchess got sick again. Same symptoms as before, vomiting, lethargy, shallow breathing. The cold was too much for her. "No," I said, "not again. You beat this once, you can beat it again." I gave her antibiotics. Running low now, only 3 pills left. Kept her warm against my body. Forced fluids. She was so small, so fragile. I stayed awake for 48 hours again, monitoring her, adjusting blankets, whispering encouragement. "You're a survivor," I told her. "You lived on the streets. You made it through the apocalypse. You're not giving up now." On the 3rd day, she ate a little. On the 4th day, she drank on her own. On the 5th day, she was purring again. I cried again. Seemed to be a pattern with her. December 10th. Day 45. The cold was constant now. My estimate bunker temperature around 38-40 degrees. Just above freezing, but not by much. I wore every piece of clothing I had. Slept in my sleeping bag fully dressed. Kept Duchess inside my jacket most of the day for shared warmth. Food was becoming an issue too. Not quantity, I still had plenty, but eating it. Canned soup was nearly frozen. Protein bars were hard as rocks. I had to warm everything against my body before eating. My exercise routine had collapsed. Too cold, too tired, too weak. I managed push-ups sometimes, sit-ups when I could motivate myself, but mostly I just conserved energy. Survival mode, true survival mode, not prepared and waiting survival. Barely hanging on survival. I made an audio log. Day 45, December 10th, 6.5 weeks in the bunker. The cold is brutal. No heat, limited warm clothing, no way to generate body temperature except huddling with my cat. Duchess has been sick twice. She's recovering again, but she's weakening. I'm weakening. We're both just fading. Food at 42 days remaining. Water still infinite. Propane gone. Battery power critical. Using laptop once per week for audio logs only. I don't know how much longer we can do this. The bunker was supposed to be safety. It's becoming a tomb. I need to make a decision soon. Stay and freeze or risk leaving. Day 45 complete. Signing off. I closed the laptop and held Duchess close. Outside, somewhere above me, infected were moaning. Slower now, quieter, but still there. Always there. December 15th, day 50. I found ice in my water jug. Not frozen solid, but ice crystals forming on the surface. The bunker was below freezing now. I was going to die down here, not from infected, not from starvation, from hypothermia. I made a decision. I was going to risk a surface mission, just once. Quick in and out, grab supplies from the nearest house, blankets, warmer clothes, maybe propane if I got lucky. It was suicide, I knew that. But staying here was also suicide, just slower. I spent 2 days preparing, cleaned my Glock, loaded it, planned my route, exit bunker, sprint to Miller House, closest, boarded up, might have supplies, grab what I could, return. Estimated time above ground, 15 minutes maximum. Estimated chance of survival, 40%, better than 0%. December 17th, day 52. I made the run. 300 hours, dead of night. Coldest part of the day, which meant infected should be slowest. I left Duchess in the bunker with extra food and water. I'll be back, I promised. 15 minutes. She meowed, worried, I think. I climbed the ladder, unsealed the hatch, and emerged into the maintenance shed for the first time in 52 days. The cold hit me like a punch. My breath formed clouds. My eyes watered. I cracked the shed door and looked outside. Snow everywhere, 6 inches at least. The world was white and silent and dead, and there were infected. I counted 7 visible from my position, shambling slow through the snow, moaning softly, moving without purpose. I pulled out my flare gun. I'd brought 3 flares intended for emergency signals. Now they were distraction tools. I aimed northeast away from my target house and fired. The flare arced through the air and landed in the courtyard, burning bright red. Every infected in the area turned and started moving toward it. I didn't wait. I ran, 50 yards across open ground to the Miller House. Snow slowing me down, boots crunching loud, heart hammering. I made it to their back door, boarded up, but I had tools, crowbar from my supplies. I pried the board loose, smashed the window, climbed inside. The house was dark, silent. I turned on my flashlight and stopped. There were bodies. The Miller family, all 4 of them, dead in the living room, not infected dead, suicide dead, pills scattered on the floor. A note on the table. We chose this. Better than turning, better than starving, forgive us. I stood there for maybe 3 seconds processing. Then I got to work. I grabbed everything useful. 3 heavy blankets from upstairs, a winter coat, a propane canister from their grill, matches, a first aid kit, canned food from their pantry. I was loading my backpack when I heard moaning outside. The flare had burned out. Infected were wandering back. I moved to the window and looked out. 12 infected, between me and the maintenance shed. Shit! I couldn't go back the way I came. I'd have to circle around, use Building A as cover, sprint the final stretch. I climbed out the window, staying low, moving quiet. Made it 20 feet before one of them saw me. Clouded eyes locked onto mine. It opened its mouth. No scream, just a low moan, and started moving. Fast. This was a fresh one. I ran. Infected converged from 3 directions. I counted 5 chasing me, moving faster than I'd ever seen them move. I sprinted toward Building A, boots slipping on snow, backpack bouncing, breath coming in gasps. One infected cut me off from the left. I didn't think. Just drew my Glock and fired, headshot. It dropped. 2 more closing in from the right. I fired twice more. 1 dropped, 1 kept coming. I holstered the gun and used my crowbar, swung hard, connected with its skull. It went down. But now more were coming. Drawn by gunshots, I ran for the maintenance shed, 30 yards, 20-10. An infected lunged from behind a snow-covered car. I dodged barely, felt its fingers brush my jacket. 5 yards. I reached the shed, yanked the door open, dove inside, slammed it shut. Something hit the door hard, then again, then constant pounding. I descended into the bunker, sealed the hatch, and collapsed. Duchess was waiting. She meowed. Relief, maybe. I was shaking. From adrenaline, from cold, from the realization that I'd almost died. But I had supplies. 3 blankets, propane, food, warm clothes. I'd survived. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Sitting in my bunker, covered in sweat and snow, laughing like a maniac. "We did it," I told Duchess. "We fucking did it." She purred and climbed into my lap. I wrapped us both in the new blankets and just sat there, warming up, coming down from the adrenaline high. Above me, infected were pounding on the shed door. But down here, we were safe. For now. December 20th, day 55. I'd started watching someone. Camera 4 had died weeks ago, but I still had a backup laptop with archived footage, old recordings from before the power failed. I'd been going through them, cataloging survivor movements from those early days, trying to understand patterns. That's when I noticed him. Building A, Unit 7. A lone survivor who moved differently than everyone else. He used parkour. I watched footage from day 5. He'd climbed onto his balcony, jumped to the adjacent building's roof, crossed to the parking structure, and descended via drainage pipe. All of it smooth, practiced, efficient. In footage from day 8, he'd scavenged the courtyard while infected wandered below. He'd moved across second-floor walkways, never touching the ground. Smart, athletic, skilled. I found myself rooting for him in the archived footage. Found myself checking for him in each recording. I started calling him Damien in my head. No idea what his real name was, but he looked like a Damien, mid-20s, fit, confident movements. By day 12 footage, I'd confirmed he was still alive, still moving, still surviving. I wondered if he was still alive now. Day 55, December 22nd, day 57. The cold was manageable now. The blankets from the Miller house helped. The propane canister gave me 3 more days of heat. I'd rationed it carefully, 2 hours in the morning to warm up, 2 hours at night to sleep comfortably. Duchess had recovered fully. She was eating well, active, back to her normal judgmental self. I'd settled into a new routine. Colder but stable. Food, 34 days remaining. Water, infinite. Heat, 1 day of propane left. Sanity, surprisingly okay. The surface mission had helped. Weirdly. Doing something, taking action reminded me I was still capable, still alive. I made a decision. I'd do another supply run in 2 weeks. Target a different house, grab more propane and food, extend my survival window. I could do this. I could survive. December 28th, day 63. I was going through old camera footage again when I saw it. Day 47 archive, camera 7, central courtyard. Damien was there, still alive, still moving. I watched him scavenge through an abandoned car, find something useful, tuck it into his backpack. Then he moved toward the community's outer fence where Camera 7's range ended. He was planning something. I fast-forwarded through the next recordings. Day 48, Day 49, Day 50. On Day 51, I saw him exit through a gap in the fence, heading toward the commercial district outside Riverside Heights. Supply run. Same thing I'd done. I watched the timestamp. 0347 hours, smart timing. I waited for his return. 3 hours later, 0647 hours, he came back, moving fast, being chased. 15 infected, maybe 20. All fresh, all fast, all converging on him. "Run," I whispered to the archived footage. "Come on, run." He ran. Damien was fast, agile, used parkour to clear obstacles. He made it to the fence, climbed over, dropped into the community. But the infected followed. He sprinted toward Building A, made it to the entrance. Door was barricaded from inside. He pounded on it. I could see him yelling. No one opened the door. The infected closed in. Damien turned and fought. I watched him take down 3 infected with a crowbar. Watched him dodge, weave, strike with precision. But there were too many. One grabbed his arm, bit into his forearm. He screamed. I couldn't hear it, but I saw it. He killed that one, killed 2 more, then ran. Infected blood on his crowbar, his own blood running down his arm. He made it back to Building A, kicked in a ground floor window, disappeared inside. The timestamp read 0712 hours. I knew what came next. Bite to symptoms, 15:45 minutes. I fast-forwarded. 0730, 0745, 0759. At 0803 hours, I saw movement in Building A's second-floor window. Damien appeared, stumbling, jerking. His eyes were clouded. He'd turned. I watched him wander through the building, watched him attack someone inside. Elderly woman looked like Mrs. Patterson from Unit 4. She fell, started convulsing, turned. Now there were 2 infected in Building A. I stopped the playback and sat in the dark. Damien, the runner, the survivor I'd been rooting for, dead, infected, gone, and I could have helped. I had a radio. I could have transmitted on an open channel. Infected coming from the east, don't open the door. But I'd chosen silence, chosen not to risk revealing my position. And Mrs. Patterson had died because of it. I opened my notebook and wrote, Day 63, discovered archived footage of the runner, building a survivor. He was bitten during supply run on Day 51, turned, killed another survivor, Mrs. Patterson. I could have warned them. I had a radio. I could have transmitted. I chose silence. I chose my safety over theirs. Mrs. Patterson is dead because of me. Her blood is on my hands as much as the infected's. I am not a survivor. I am a coward who hoards supplies and lets people die. Day 63 complete, signing off. I closed the notebook. Duchess looked at me with those green eyes. I killed her, I said. Meow. Don't defend me, I don't deserve it. She climbed onto my lap anyway and started purring. I held her and cried. Again. January 5th, Day 71. Duchess stopped eating her food. Not sick this time. Picky. She'd sniff her bowl, look at me, meow indignantly and walk away. You have to eat, I told her. Meow. Translation. This food is garbage. It's the same food you've been eating for 2 months. Meow. Translation. Exactly. The problem was her sensitive stomach. She needed specialized cat food, specific brand, specific formula. I'd bought 60 days' worth before the outbreak. I'd been rationing carefully, but we were down to the last 5 cans. 5 days of food. Then she'd have to eat regular food, which might make her sick again, which might kill her. I sat on my sleeping bag and did the math. Option A, stay in bunker, feed her regular food when specialized runs out, hope she doesn't get sick. Survival probability, 60%, Moral cost, watching her potentially die. Option B, risk another surface mission specifically for cat food. Survival probability, 40%. Moral cost, dying for a cat. I stared at Duchess. She stared back. You're just a cat, I said. Meow. Translation, fuck you. I could die trying to get you food. Meow. Translation, and? This is insane. Meow. Translation, your point. I thought about it for 3 days. January 8th, day 74. I made the decision I was going for cat food, not because it was smart, not because it was logical, but because Duchess was the only thing keeping me sane, and if she died, I'd have nothing left. So yeah, I was risking my life for a cat. Fuck pragmatism. I planned the mission. Target the Miller house again. I knew the layout. They'd had a cat. I'd seen photos on their walls. Might have cat food. If not, I'd try the Anderson house next door. Estimated time above ground, 20 minutes. Estimated infected count, unknown, day 74, midwinter, snow on ground. Estimated survival probability, 50-50. I told Duchess the plan, she purred. If I die doing this, I want you to know you're a pain in the ass. Meow. Translation, love you too. January 9th, day 75. 0400 hours, I made my move. Same protocol as last time. Flare gun to create distraction, sprint to target, grab supplies, return. I emerged from the bunker into freezing darkness. Temperature maybe 20 degrees. Snow everywhere, wind cutting through my layers. I scanned the area. 6 infected visible, all moving slow. Degraded ones, easy to avoid. I fired the flare east. It landed in the parking lot, burning bright. The infected turned and shambled toward it. I ran for the Miller house, made it to the back door I'd used before. Boards still loose from my last visit. Climbed through. Inside, I used my flashlight to search. Kitchen pantry, canned goods, pasta, rice, no cat food. Garage, tools, camping supplies, gardening equipment, no cat food. Laundry room, detergent, bleach, there. Bottom shelf, 6 cans of Fancy Feast, special formula, digestive health, jackpot. I grabbed all 6 cans, stuffed them in my backpack. Then I heard glass breaking. Downstairs, living room area. I froze, listened. Moaning, multiple infected. Inside the house, they'd followed me, or wandered in through the broken window. Didn't matter, I was trapped. I moved to the stairway and looked down. 3 infected, shambling up the stairs. Slow but steady. I couldn't go back the way I came. I ran to the master bedroom, 2nd floor, window facing the backyard. Opened it, looked down, 15-foot drop into snow, manageable. But there were infected in the backyard too. 5 of them. Between me and the maintenance shed. Shit. I couldn't fight 5 infected. Not in the open, not in the snow. I needed a distraction. I grabbed a lamp from the bedroom and threw it through the front window. It crashed on the sidewalk. The infected in the backyard turned and moved toward the noise. I didn't wait. I jumped. Landed hard in the snow. Pain shot through my ankle, twisted, maybe sprained. I ignored it and ran, limping, backpack bouncing, breathing hard. An infected spotted me, started chasing. I drew my Glock and fired. Headshot. It dropped. 2 more appeared from around the house. I fired twice. 1 dropped. 1 kept coming. I ran harder, ankle screaming. 10 yards to the shed, 5 yards. The infected lunged. I dodged left. It missed me by inches. I reached the shed, yanked the door open, dove inside. Something grabbed my jacket. I spun. The infected had grabbed my sleeve. I kicked it in the chest. It stumbled back. I slammed the door and descended into the bunker, sealed the hatch, collapsed. My ankle was swelling. My heart was hammering. I was covered in sweat and snow. But I had cat food. Duchess was waiting. She sniffed the backpack, meowed approval. 6 cans, I gasped. 12 days of food, you're welcome. Meow. Translation. Took you long enough. I laughed. Couldn't help it. I'd almost died for cat food, and I'd do it again. I made an audio log. Day 75, conducted supply mission for specialized cat food. Encountered multiple infected, sustained minor ankle injury, successfully retrieved 6 cans. I risked my life for a cat. Former military police Marcus Webb, trained in tactical decision-making and risk assessment, just risked death for fancy feast. I think I've officially lost my mind. But Duchess is happy, and honestly, that's enough. Food supplies, 28 days remaining. Cat food supplies, 17 days remaining. Sanity, compromised but stable. Day 75 complete, signing off. I fed Duchess her specialized food. She purred and ate happily. Worth it. January 15th, day 81. I heard voices above ground, not moaning, not infected, human voices. I froze, listening through the ventilation system. Told you there's nothing here? Just check the shed, man, might have supplies. My blood went cold. I knew that voice. Kyle Brennan, my former co-worker. The day shift guard who'd panicked and abandoned the post on day 1, he was alive, and he was right above me. I moved to my laptop, pulled up the last archived camera footage from the maintenance shed exterior, day 15 before cameras died. Studied the layout, the angles. If Kyle thoroughly searched the shed, he'd find the bunker entrance. The false floor panel was hidden but not invisible. A careful search would reveal it. I couldn't let that happen. I grabbed my Glock, checked the magazine, 14 rounds. I listened. Footsteps in the shed, things being moved around. This place is trashed, Kyle said. Nothing useful. Check the floor, another voice said. Male, unfamiliar. Sometimes people hide shit under floorboards. My heart pounded. They were going to find me. I aimed my Glock at the hatch. If it opened, I'd fire. Shoot first, questions never, more footsteps, heavy, methodical. Then, wait, what's this? What? This panel. Looks different than the others. Shit. Probably just old construction. No, look, there's a seam like it's designed to lift. Shit. I steadied my aim, finger on the trigger. The panel lifted, light flooded in. I squinted, keeping my gun trained on the opening. Kyle's face appeared. He looked down, saw me, saw the gun. His eyes went wide. Holy shit, Marcus! Get back, I said. Close the hatch and walk away. Marcus, dude, it's me. Kyle, I thought you were dead. I said, get back. He didn't move, just stared. You've been down there this whole time? Jesus, man, that's like, what, 3 months? Close the hatch, Kyle. Okay. He raised his hands. I'm not a threat, bro, we're cool. We're not cool. We're not bros. Close the fucking hatch. Behind him, another face appeared. The other voice. Male, maybe mid-30s, rough-looking. Who's down there? He asked. Security guard I used to work with, Kyle said. He's got supplies. Then let's... No, I said. You're not coming down. Both of you leave, now. The rough-looking guy, let's call him Dave, smiled. Not friendly, predatory. That's not very neighborly. You got food down there, water, medicine? I've got a gun pointed at your face, that's what I've got. Dave smiled, faded. You'd really shoot us? Without hesitation. Kyle put his hand on Dave's shoulder. Let's just go, man. He's obviously not... He's got supplies, Dave interrupted. We're starving. He's sitting on enough food for months, probably. And I'll keep it, I said. This is your last warning. Leave. Dave reached into his jacket. I didn't wait. I fired. The shot went wide, deliberately missed Dave's head by inches, hit the shed wall behind him. Both men scrambled back, disappeared from the hatch opening. You're fucking crazy, Kyle shouted. Next shot won't miss. Leave! I heard them running. Shed door slamming. footsteps crunching through snow fading. I waited 5 minutes, then climbed up and sealed the shed door from inside using a 2x4 wedged against the frame. Not perfect, but it would slow anyone down. Descended back into the bunker, sealed the hatch, pushed my supply boxes over it for added weight. Then I sat in the dark, shaking. Kyle was alive, and he knew about the bunker. He'd left, but he might come back, and he had Dave with him. Dave, who looked desperate, who looked violent, who looked at my bunker like it was a treasure chest. I'd made an enemy. January 18th, day 84. Kyle returned. I heard him in the shed, moving around, testing the door I'd wedged shut. "Marcus," he called down. "Marcus, I know you can hear me." I didn't respond. "Look, man, Dave's gone. I sent him away. It's just me. I'm not trying to take your stuff. Can we talk?" Silence. "I'm starving, Marcus. I've been eating snow and whatever scraps I can find. I'm down to like 120 pounds. I'm dying." I listened, didn't move. "I'm not asking for much, just some food, couple cans, something." "Please," his voice cracked. "We used to work together, man. We're colleagues. Doesn't that mean something?" It meant we occupied the same booth at different times. It meant nothing. "Please, Marcus, please." I heard him crying, actually crying. Duchess looked at me. "Don't," I said, "meow. He's trying to manipulate me." Meow. "Even if he's not, I can't risk it. I give him food, he'll come back for more, or he'll bring Dave or others. This bunker stays secret." Meow. "I'm not a monster." Duchess just blinked at me. Above, Kyle was still crying. "I've got a family, Marcus, a girlfriend. She's pregnant. We're trying to survive. Just give me something, anything." I didn't know if that was true, probably wasn't, but maybe it was. I made a decision. I took 10 cans of soup, grabbed 5 bottles of water, packaged them in a plastic bag, climbed the ladder, opened the hatch just a crack. "Kyle?" "Marcus? Oh, thank God. Shut up and listen. I'm going to pass supplies through this gap. You take them and leave. You don't come back. You don't tell anyone about this bunker. You forget you ever found me, understood?" Yeah, of course. Thank you, man. Thank you. If you come back, I shoot you. No warnings next time." "I won't. I swear, I just needed—" "Take the bag." I pushed it through the gap, saw his hands grab it. "Thank you," he said again. "Marcus, seriously, you saved my—" I closed the hatch, listened as he left the shed. Then I descended and pushed more boxes over the hatch. Duchess was waiting. "I helped him," I said. Meow. Translation. "Barely. It's more than nothing." Meow. Translation. "Is it?" I made an audio log. Day 84. Kyle Brennan discovered bunker location. He's desperate, possibly dangerous, claims to have family girlfriend, unverified. I provided minimal supplies and threatened violence if he returns. I've been in this bunker for 84 days. I've watched dozens of people die. I've ignored cries for help. I've chosen isolation over community. And when given the chance to actually help someone I knew, someone who might be genuine, I gave him 10 cans of soup and threatened to shoot him. I don't know if this makes me pragmatic or sociopathic. I think I'm losing the ability to tell the difference. Food supplies, 18 days remaining, minus 10 cans. Water, infinite. Humanity, declining. Day 84, complete. Signing off. I turned off the laptop and sat in the dark with Duchess. Outside, somewhere in the snow, Kyle was eating canned soup I gave him. Or maybe he'd already died. Or maybe he was planning to come back with Dave and break in. I didn't know. All I knew, I'd built a fortress against the infected. But the real threat might be human. And I was completely alone. January 25th, day 91. The ventilation was failing. I woke up dizzy, headache pounding, breathing shallow. Carbon dioxide buildup. The bunker's ventilation system was basic. Passive air exchange through a vent pipe that extended above ground, hidden behind the maintenance shed. But something was blocking it. I checked the airflow, minimal, almost nothing, which meant in maybe 6 to 8 hours I'd asphyxiate. I had to fix it. Which meant going above ground, or dying. I grabbed my tools, flashlight, screwdriver, crowbar, pulled on my warmest clothes, loaded my Glock. "Stay here," I told Duchess. Meow. Translation: "Obviously, I'm not an idiot like you." I climbed the ladder, unsealed the hatch, entered the maintenance shed. It was dark, cold. I could see my breath. I moved to the vent pipe location, back corner of the shed, hidden behind old equipment. The pipe was blocked by Kyle. He was passed out drunk on top of the vent pipe, using it as a makeshift seat while he drank from a bottle of something. Probably found it scavenging. His presence was suffocating me. Literally. "Kyle," I said. He startled awake, nearly fell over, saw me. Eyes went wide. "Marcus, hey man, I was just..." "Move." I wasn't trying to block anything, I just needed a place to move, now. He stumbled off the vent pipe, clutching his bottle. I checked the pipe, unblocked now. Airflow resuming. I turned to leave. "Wait," Kyle said. "Wait, Marcus, please." "What?" "I'm out of food. The stuff you gave me. I made it last as long as I could, but it's gone. I'm starving again." "Not my problem. Please, just a little more, I'm begging you." I looked at him. Really looked. He was skeletal, clothes hanging off him, face hollow, eyes desperate. He was dying. "I gave you 10 cans, I said. "That should have lasted 2 weeks if rationed properly." "I did ration, but Dave, he found me, took half. There was nothing I could..." "Dave's still around?" "He left. Went east looking for better scavenging, but he might come back." "Marcus, I'm scared. What you need is to leave this shed. Permanently." "Where am I supposed to go? It's freezing out there. The infected..." "Figure it out." "You're just going to let me die?" "Yes." That was the pragmatic answer. One less threat, one less liability. But I looked at him. This pathetic, starving kid who'd panicked on day one and was paying for it every day since. And I felt something. Not quite compassion, but not total apathy either. "I'll make you a deal," I said. "You leave this shed permanently. You don't come back. In exchange, I'll give you a map to a house that might still have supplies. Maybe you find something, maybe you don't. But you're on your own after that." Kyle's face lit up. "Yes. Anything. Thank you. Marcus, and if I see you in this shed again, I shoot you. No conversation, no warning, headshot." His face fell. Okay, I understand." I pulled out my notebook, drew a quick map to the Anderson house 2 blocks away. Handed it to him. "That's all you get." He took it like it was a treasure map. "Thank you. I mean it. You're saving my life. I'm giving you a chance. What you do with it is your problem." I descended back into the bunker, sealed the hatch. Airflow was restored. I could breathe. But I felt sick anyway. January 30th, day 96. I hadn't seen or heard Kyle in 5 days. Maybe he found supplies. Maybe he froze to death. Maybe infected got him. I didn't know, didn't care. I cared. I hated that I cared. My supplies were running low. Food, 8 days remaining at current ration. Water, infinite. Spring still flowing. Cat food, 3 days. I needed to make another supply run. Soon. But I was tired. So fucking tired. Tired of being cold. Tired of being alone. Tired of making impossible choices. Tired of surviving. Duchess sensed my mood. She stayed close, purring constantly, head-butting my hand when I stopped petting her. "What's the point?" I asked her. "I survive another week, another month, then what? I die anyway. We all die anyway." Meow. Translation: Everyone dies eventually. That's not an excuse to give up now. When did you get so philosophical? Meow. Translation. I've always been philosophical, you just weren't listening. I made an audio log. Day 96. 3 months in the bunker. Supplies critical. Ventilation crisis resolved. Kyle's status unknown. I'm running out of food. I'm running out of will. I've survived 96 days by being selfish, by hoarding resources, by ignoring people who needed help. I gave Kyle 10 cans of soup and a map. Is that enough to balance 96 days of cowardice? I don't think so. Tomorrow I'll plan another supply run. Probably my last one. Either I find enough to last another few months or I don't. And if I don't, maybe that's okay. Maybe I've survived long enough. Day 96 complete. Signing off. I turned off the laptop and laid down with Duchess. She purred against my chest. If I don't make it back from the next run, I whispered, you find someone else to take care of you, okay? Meow. Translation. Shut up. You're coming back. I hoped she was right. Continuing in next message due to length. February the 2nd, day 99. I was planning my final supply run when I heard the screaming. Distant. Maybe 200 yards away, but definitely human. I grabbed my radio, hadn't used it in weeks, and scanned frequencies. Static, static. Then, please, if anyone's listening, Building C, we're trapped, infected inside. Please. A woman's voice. Terrified. I recognized it. Patricia Henderson, the CDC scientist's wife, the family I'd watched barricade themselves on day 1. They were still alive, and they were in trouble. My husband is injured. Infection, please, we need help. I grabbed my notebook, found my archived notes on the Hendersons. Dr. Robert Henderson, CDC epidemiologist, had classified information about the outbreak. And if anyone knew if there was hope, cure, safe zones, anything, it was him. But Patricia said he was injured. Infection. If he got scratched or bitten, he was turning. And if he turned in that basement with his family. Please, anyone. The transmission cut out. I stared at my radio. I could respond. I could make contact. I had information they might need. They had information I might need. But responding meant revealing myself, meant breaking 99 days of radio silence, meant risking everything for a family I'd ignored for 3 months. I sat in the dark with Duchess. What do I do? Meow. Translation. You already know. If I help them, I might die. Meow. Translation. You might die anyway. If I don't help them, they'll definitely die. Meow. Translation. Exactly. I grabbed my radio and keyed the mic. This is Marcus Webb, former security guard, currently sheltered in maintenance bunker. Henderson family, if you're receiving, respond. Static. Then, Marcus? Oh my God, Marcus, you're alive? Patricia's voice, relief flooding through the static. I'm alive. What's your situation? We're barricaded in our basement. Robert got scratched 2 weeks ago. He fought the infection for days, but he turned this morning. Tyler and I locked him in the storage room, but we're trapped. We haven't eaten in 4 days. Tyler needs medicine. We need help. I can't extract you. I don't have the resources or manpower. I'm not asking for extraction. I'm asking for a chance. Can you create a distraction? Draw the infected away from our house? Just long enough for us to escape? Where would you go? Anywhere. We just need to get out. I thought about it. Creating a distraction was doable. Flare gun, noisemakers, something to pull infected away from their position. But I'd be revealing my location, drawing attention to the maintenance shed area. And if it failed, if they died anyway, I'd have risked everything for nothing. I need to think, I said. Marcus, please. Tyler is 16 years old. He's just a kid. He doesn't deserve to die like this. I remembered the help sign from Building B, the family I'd ignored. the runner I'd watched fall, all the people I'd let die. "I'll do it," I said. "But you need to be ready. When I create the distraction, you move fast, no hesitation." "Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Don't thank me yet. This might not work." I ended the transmission and started planning. February 3rd, day 100. The plan was simple. 1. Exit bunker at 300 hours. 2. Use every flare I had, 3 remaining, to create maximum distraction on east side of Community 3. Henderson's escape during chaos, head west toward main gate 4. Return to bunker before infected converge on my position. Simple, suicidal, but simple. I geared up. Winter clothes, Glock with 14 rounds, flare gun, crowbar, flashlight. Kissed Duchess on the head. "If I don't come back, you're in charge." Meow. Translation: I've always been in charge. Fair point. I climbed out at 0245 hours, darkness, bitter cold, snow everywhere. I radioed Patricia. "I'm moving into position, be ready in 15 minutes. "We're ready." I moved east, staying low, avoiding infected sight lines. Counted 12 infected visible in the courtyard area, more probably inside buildings. At 0300 exactly, I fired all 3 flares, red, white, and green. They arced across the night sky and landed in the east parking lot. Every infected in visual range turned and moved toward the lights. I keyed the radio. "Go now." I watched from my position as the Henderson basement door burst open. Patricia emerged first, carrying a backpack. Tyler followed, tall kid, looked terrified. They ran west toward the gate. An infected spotted them, started moaning, moving to intercept. I fired my Glock, headshot, it dropped. 2 more infected appeared. I fired twice more, 1 dropped, 1 kept coming. Patricia and Tyler were 50 yards from the gate, 40, 30. More infected were converging. The flare distraction was losing effectiveness. "Run!" I shouted. "Don't stop!" They ran. An infected lunged at Tyler. He dodged barely. Patricia swung her backpack, hit the infected hard enough to knock it off balance. They made it to the gate, crashed through the broken barrier, disappeared into the darkness beyond. I waited 30 seconds, scanned the area. No sign of them. Either they'd escaped or they'd died out of sight. Either way, my job was done. I turned to head back to the bunker and saw Kyle. He was standing 20 feet away, staring at me. He looked worse than before, emaciated, shaking, wild-eyed. "You helped them," he said. "You helped them, but you let me starve." "Kyle, I'm dying, Marcus. I'm fucking dying, and you just gave those strangers a chance, but not me. I gave you supplies, I gave you a map. It wasn't enough." He pulled out a gun, a revolver, shaking in his hand. "Kyle, put the gun down. You have food in that bunker, medicine, everything I need, and you're keeping it for yourself. There's not enough for both of us, you know that." "Then I'll take it." He aimed at me, hand shaking, finger on the trigger. I had my Glock, could draw, fire, drop him, but he was 20 feet away, desperate, might get a shot off even if I hit him. "You don't want to do this," I said. "I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not for me, not anymore." He pulled the trigger. Click, empty chamber. He pulled again. Click, click, click. The gun was empty, had been empty. Kyle stared at it, then at me, then just collapsed. Fell to his knees in the snow and started crying. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore, I can't. I should have left him, should have returned to the bunker." Instead, I walked over and put my hand on his shoulder. "Come on," I said, "get up." "Why? So I can freeze, so I can starve? What's the point?" "The point is you're still alive. That means something." "To who?" Good question. I thought about Duchess, about Patricia and Tyler escaping, about every choice I'd made for 3 months. To me, I said. It means something to me. I helped him stand. I'm taking you to the bunker. You stay for 3 days. I give you food, water, warmth. Then you leave and you don't come back. Agreed? He stared at me. Why would you? Because I'm tired of watching people die when I could have helped. Agree or I leave you here. I agree. I agree, thank you. Save it. Let's move before more infected show up. We made it back to the bunker. Duchess saw Kyle and hissed. Yeah, I don't like it either, I told her. But it's temporary. Kyle ate half a can of soup and passed out on my sleeping bag. I sat in the corner with Duchess, holding my Glock, not sleeping. 3 days. I'd give him 3 days. Then he was gone. I made an audio log. Day 100 helped the Hendersons escape. Encountered Kyle again, desperate, armed with empty gun. Made decision to shelter him temporarily, 3 days maximum. I don't know if this is compassion or stupidity. I don't know if he'll actually leave. I don't know if I just made the biggest mistake of my survival. But I know I couldn't let him die. Not anymore. Food supplies 6 days remaining, now split between 2 people, effectively 3 days. This changes everything. Day 100 complete. Signing off. I watched Kyle sleep and wondered if I'd just signed my own death warrant. February 10th, day 107. Kyle left on day 103 as promised. I gave him a backpack of supplies, 5 cans of food, 2 bottles of water, matches, a blanket, and watched him climb out of the bunker for the last time. Thank you, he said. Seriously, Marcus, you saved my life. Survive, I said. That's the only thanks I need. He nodded and disappeared into the shed. I never saw him again. Duchess immediately reclaimed the sleeping bag and gave me a look that said, Finally? Yeah, I missed you too. Meow. Translation. I tolerated that human presence. Barely. Now it was just us again, and we were almost out of food. I did inventory. Food, 1 day remaining. Gave Kyle half of what was left. Water. Infinite cat food. 0 days. Duchess had been eating regular canned meat, surprisingly okay with it now. Ammunition. 9 rounds. Survival timeline 24 hours before starvation. I had one option left. Major supply run. Multiple houses. High risk. All or nothing. February 11th, day 108. I prepared for the biggest mission of my survival. Target, 3 houses in sequence. Anderson House, Peterson House, and the corner store outside the community gate. Estimated time above ground, 1 hour. Estimated infected encounters, high. Survival probability, 30%. But staying in the bunker meant death, so 30% was better than 0%. I geared up with everything, Glock, crowbar, backpack, empty duffel bag for extra carrying capacity. Left Duchess with 2 days of water and her last can of food. If I don't come back, meow. Translation, don't talk like that. If I don't come back, you find a way out. You survive, okay? She headbutted my hand. I kissed her head and climbed out. The maintenance shed was empty, silent. I cracked the door and looked outside, and stopped. The snow was melting. I could see patches of grass, hear water dripping, feel slightly warmer air. Spring was coming, and with it, increased infected activity. I counted infected visible from my position, 8, moving faster than they had in weeks. The warmth was reviving them. I fired a flare south. They turned and pursued it. I ran north toward the Anderson house, made it inside through a broken window. Searched quickly. Kitchen pantry had 12 cans of food, 3 bottles of water. Score. Stuffed them in my backpack. Moved to Peterson house. Kicked in the back door. Infected moaning somewhere upstairs, but I ignored it. Found their pantry, 20 cans, a case of water, batteries, first aid kit. Jackpot. I was loading my duffel bag when I heard glass breaking behind me. Turned. 3 infected in the kitchen. Fresh ones. Shit. I drew my Glock, fired 3 times, 2 dropped, 1 kept coming. I used the crowbar, swung hard, connected with its skull. It went down, but gunshots attracted more. I heard moaning from multiple directions. I slung the duffel bag over my shoulder and ran for the exit. Burst out the back door into the yard, 5 infected between me and the maintenance shed. I fired my Glock, 4 rounds, 3 infected down, 1 round left in the magazine, 2 infected still coming. I holstered the gun and used the crowbar, fought them hand to hand, brutal, exhausting, hit one in the head. It dropped. The other grabbed my jacket. We went down together. It tried to bite my neck. I blocked with my forearm. Its teeth sank into my jacket sleeve. Didn't penetrate. Thank God for thick winter coats. I shoved it off, scrambled to my feet, smashed its head with the crowbar. It stopped moving. I stood there, breathing hard, checking for bites. None. I was clean. Grabbed my supplies and ran for the maintenance shed. Made it inside, sealed the door, descended into the bunker. Duchess was waiting. I dropped the bags and collapsed. I did it, I gasped. 32 cans, water, medicine, we're good for another month. Meow. Translation: I never doubted you. Liar. Meow. Translation: fine, I doubted you a little. I laughed and pulled her into a hug. We'd survived. Again. March 1st, day 127. The spring thaw was accelerating. I could hear it above ground. Water running, ice melting, the world waking up from winter. And with it, increased infected activity. I estimated there were 70+ infected in the Riverside Heights community now. Migration from surrounding areas attracted by something. Sound, smell, random chance, didn't matter. They were here. But something else was here too. I'd been checking my archived camera footage, still had some battery life left on my laptop, when I noticed movement in Building A. Specifically the Henderson house. Wait, the Hendersons escaped on day 100, their house should be empty. I zoomed in on the archived footage from day 110 before cameras died. There was someone inside, a figure moving past the window. Too far to identify. Survivors? Scavengers? Or had Patricia and Tyler come back? I made a note in my logbook. Possible survivors in Henderson house. Status unknown. No camera confirmation after day 110. Investigate if opportunity arises. But I wasn't planning to investigate, not unless absolutely necessary. My supplies were stable now. 32 cans meant 21 days if I rationed carefully, 1.5 cans per day. Water was infinite. Duchess was healthy. I could sit tight for 3 more weeks, then reassess. March 5th, day 131. I saw a signal. I was testing my old signal mirror, saw it in my supplies, and remembered I'd used it once to signal the Hendersons when I caught a reflection. Someone was flashing Morse code from the Henderson house window. I grabbed my mirror and flashed back, "Who?" Long pause. Then, "Help." I flashed, "How many?" Response, 4 people. Food status, running out. Medical status, Robert injured. Robert, Dr. Henderson still alive? Or someone else named Robert? I flashed, "Infected status. Robert infected, shit. He was bitten or scratched, he was turning." I flashed, "When infected 2 weeks ago." 2 weeks and still alive? That was impossible. Infection turned people in minutes, not weeks. Unless, I flashed, "Immune?" Long pause. Then, "Unsure." This changed everything. If Dr. Henderson had been infected and was still alive, still conscious after 2 weeks, that meant either A, he was immune, game changer. B, he was in some kind of slow turn state, terrifying. C, This wasn't actually the Hendersons' trap. I needed more information. I flashed, "Meet halfway garden shed tomorrow's 0300. Response, "Agreed. Come alone, no weapons. Negative will be armed. Understood." I lowered the mirror and sat back. Was I really doing this? Meeting unknown survivors after 131 days of isolation? Yes. Because if Dr. Henderson had information about immunity, about the virus, about anything that could help, I needed to know. I told Duchess the plan. She hissed, "I know, it's risky." Meow. Translation, "It's stupid." "But if he's immune," meow. Translation, "He's probably not." "If he has CDC information," meow. Translation, "It won't save you." "I'm going anyway." Meow. Translation, "Obviously, you're an idiot." March 6th, day 132. 0245 hours. I geared up. Glock loaded. 1 full magazine, 14 rounds. Knife, flashlight. Minimal supplies to trade if necessary. I climbed out of the bunker and made my way to the garden shed, halfway point between my position and Henderson house. Waited in the shadows. At 0300 exactly, 2 figures approached, a woman and a teenager. Patricia Henderson and Tyler. They looked rough, thin, exhausted, but alive. Patricia saw me and stopped. "Marcus?" "Patricia, you look different. 4 months in a bunker will do that." She almost smiled. "We made it out because of you. The distraction you created. We got past the gate and found an abandoned car with keys still in it. Drove until we ran out of gas, then walked back when we realized there's nowhere safe to go." "So you came back here?" "Devil you know." She gestured toward Tyler. "This is my son, Tyler. Say hi." The kid just stared at me. Didn't speak. "He hasn't talked since his father died," Patricia said quietly. "I thought you said Robert was injured, infected." "He was. 2 weeks ago he got scratched by an infected while we were scavenging. We thought he was done. But he didn't turn, not completely. He fought it for days. Fever, aggression. The clouded eyes started to appear. We locked him in the storage room, prepared for him to turn fully. And on the 4th day the symptoms reversed. The fever broke. The clouded eyes cleared. He was conscious, coherent. I felt my heart rate increase. He's immune? We don't know. He was lucid for maybe 6 days, eating, talking, telling us about the virus. Then the symptoms came back. Worse this time. Yesterday morning he fully turned. Tyler and I had to lock him in the basement. So he's not immune. Or the immunity was temporary. Or the infection mutated. Marcus, he told us things before he turned. CDC things. Classified information about the virus. What things? She glanced around, paranoid. Not here. Too exposed. Can we talk somewhere safer? My bunker. But only you and Tyler. No one else. There's no one else. It's just us. I studied her face. She looked genuine. Desperate, but genuine. Fine. Follow me. I led them to the maintenance shed, down into the bunker. Duchess hissed immediately. That's Duchess. She doesn't like people. Meow. Translation. Understatement. Patricia and Tyler descended. Their eyes widened at my setup. Supplies, sleeping bag, organized survival station. You've been living down here for 4 months? Patricia asked. Yes. Alone? With Duchess. Tyler looked at the cat and the ghost of a smile crossed his face. Patricia pulled out a notebook, Dr. Henderson's research notes. Before Robert fully turned, he told us everything. The virus, the outbreak, why there's no cure. She handed me the notebook. I read. And my world collapsed. The notebook contained Dr. Robert Henderson's final notes. The virus is a mutated strain of rabies, military bioweapon, accidental release from Fort Detrick Biosafety Level 4 facility. Initial infection vector, primate test subject escaped containment during transport. Transmission, all bodily fluids, blood, saliva, any open wound contact. Progression, rapid, 15-45 minutes average from exposure to full turn. Lethality, 100% once symptoms manifest. No cure, no vaccine, no proven immunity. Note on immunity, Tyler Henderson exposed to infected blood on day 28. Did not turn. Possible natural resistance? Insufficient data. Could be false negative, scratch didn't penetrate deep enough. Or could be genetic immunity. Requires further study. Government status, collapsed, military overrun. FEMA camps failed. No central authority remains. Long-term prognosis. Humanity likely extinct within 2 to 5 years unless pockets of immune survivors exist. Personal note, I'm turning. I can feel it. Patricia, Tyler, I'm sorry. I should have brought you to safety sooner. I thought I could fight it. I was wrong. To whoever finds this, there is no rescue coming. This is permanent. Adapt or die. Final entry, day 98 post-outbreak. Dr. Robert Henderson, CDC. I set down the notebook. He's right, Patricia said. Tyler might be immune. He was bitten on day 28. Shallow bite, but it broke skin. He bled, and he never turned. I looked at Tyler. The kid was staring at Duchess, still not speaking. If he's immune, he might be important, I said. He might be the only hope, Patricia corrected. If we can find other immune people, if we can study the resistance, maybe we can rebuild. We don't have the resources for that. No. But we have Tyler. And he's alive. That has to mean something. I thought about it. Tyler, 16 years old, possibly immune to the virus that ended civilization. And Patricia, his mother, desperate to protect him. What do you need? I asked. Food, shelter, just until we figure out next steps. I can't take you in. Bunker's too small. Supplies too limited. Then help us find a safe house. Stock it with supplies. Give us a chance. And in return? If Tyler is immune and if we survive, maybe that immunity matters. Maybe it saves someone someday. Long shot. Insane long shot. But there's a house 2 blocks west. Corner unit. I cleared it on day 60. Should still have supplies. You can shelter there. Thank you, Marcus. Don't thank me. If infected find you, I'm not staging another rescue. Understood? Tyler finally spoke. Thank you. His voice was quiet, broken, but it was there. I nodded. You're welcome, kid. They left 30 minutes later. I gave them directions to the safe house, a bit of food to get started. Watched them disappear into the pre-dawn darkness. Duchess glared at me. What? Meow. Translation. You just gave away food to strangers. They might matter. Meow. Translation. Or they might die and you wasted resources. Probably. Meow. Translation. Idiot. Yeah. I made an audio log. Day 132. Met with Patricia and Tyler Henderson. Dr. Henderson died after temporary immunity response. Turned on day 98. Left research notes confirming 1. Virus is mutated rabies, military origin. 2. 100% fatal, no cure. 3. Government collapsed. 4. Tyler possibly immune, exposed but didn't turn. If immunity is real, Tyler might be important. Gave them shelter, location, and supplies. I'm either helping save humanity or wasting food on a dead family. Time will tell. Food supplies, 16 days. Hope, uncertain. Day 132 complete. Signing off. I closed the notebook and held Duchess. What do you think? I asked. Is there hope? Meow. Translation. Hope is a human concept. I just want food and warmth. Fair. I went to sleep wondering if Tyler Henderson was immune, and if it even mattered. March 15th, day 141. Patricia radioed me on the emergency frequency. Marcus, we need to talk. I'd been expecting this. Sooner or later, they'd run into trouble. Go ahead. Robert, Before he died, he told me something else, something he didn't write in the notebook. What? He said if I ever made contact with other survivors to tell them there might be research at Fort Detrick, in the Sub-Level 4 facility, virus samples, data on the mutation, maybe even experimental treatments. Fort Detrick is 60 miles away, through infected territory, probably overrun. Probably. But if there's even a chance, there isn't. Tyler is immune, Marcus, I know it, and if there's data that explains why, it could save people. What people? Everyone's dead or infected. Not everyone. There's you. There's us. There might be others. I thought about Kyle, about the runner, about all the people I'd watched die or ignored. I'm not going to Fort Detrick, I said. Long pause, then, I understand, but I am. That's suicide. Maybe, but Tyler deserves a future, and sitting in a safe house waiting to starve isn't a future. When are you leaving? Tomorrow, dawn. You'll die. Probably, but at least I'll die trying. The transmission ended. I sat in the bunker, processing. Patricia was going to march into a military bioweapons facility that had been overrun by infected, searching for research that probably didn't exist, all for a kid who might not actually be immune. Stupid. Brave. Insane. Everything I wasn't. I'd spent 141 days hiding, surviving, choosing safety over action. And she was choosing action over safety. Duchess meowed. Don't, I said. Meow. Translation. You're thinking about helping her. I'm not. Meow. Translation. You absolutely are. It's a suicide mission. Meow. Translation. So was your last supply run, you survived? That was different. Meow. Translation. How? I didn't have an answer. March 16th, day 142. I woke up at 500 and made a decision I'd regret. I was going with them. Not because I believed in the mission, not because I thought Tyler's immunity mattered, but because I'd spent 5 months watching people die while I did nothing. And I was tired of being that person. I geared up, Glock, all remaining ammunition, 9 rounds, crowbar, backpack with 3 days of food, water, first aid. I'll be back, I told Duchess, I promise. Meow. Translation. No, you won't. Probably not, but I'm going anyway. Meow. Translation. Idiot. Yeah, I radioed Patricia. Change of plans, I'm coming with you. Silence. Then, why? Because someone has to. You don't have to. I know. See you at the gate in 20 minutes. I climbed out of the bunker, sealed it, and walked through Riverside Heights for what I thought might be the last time. The community was waking up, infected stumbling through melting snow. Spring sounds, birds, dripping water, the world pretending everything was normal. At the main gate, Patricia and Tyler were waiting. Patricia looked surprised. You actually came. Don't make me regret it. Tyler smiled. First real smile I'd seen from him. 60 miles, Patricia said, through infected territory, to a military facility that's probably overrun, searching for research that might not exist. I'm aware. Why are you doing this? Good question. Because I've been a coward for 5 months and I'm tired of it. She nodded. Then let's stop being cowards. We walked out of Riverside Heights together. Behind us, the community sat silent and dead. Ahead of us, 60 miles of hell. And somewhere in the middle, I realized I was okay with dying now, as long as I died trying. March 28th, day 154. We didn't make it to Fort Detrick. We made it 30 miles before we found her. Vanessa Torres, 7 months pregnant, running from infected. Alone, desperate. She stumbled into our path on a rural highway, being chased by 5 infected. I didn't think, just reacted. Drew my Glock and fired. 2 infected down, 3 remaining. Patricia threw a rock, created distraction. Tyler grabbed Vanessa, pulled her behind an overturned car. I moved forward, fired again. 1 more down, 2 infected closing in, out of ammunition. I drew my knife and charged, hand to hand, brutal, desperate, killed 1. The other lunged and scratched my forearm. Its fingernails, covered in infected blood, tore through my jacket sleeve. I felt it. Burning. Contact with infected fluids, I killed it anyway. Knife to the skull. Then looked at my arm. Shallow scratch, barely bleeding. But infected blood had entered the wound. Patricia saw it. "Oh God, Marcus, get her to safety," I said. "The bunker. Coordinates I gave you, she'll be protected there." "Marcus, go!" They ran. Patricia supporting Vanessa, Tyler leading the way. I stood in the middle of the highway, looking at my scratch. 45 minutes until symptoms, maybe 30 minutes until I turned completely. I started walking back toward Riverside Heights, toward the bunker. I had things to do before I died. I made it back to the maintenance shed at 18:47 hours, 18 minutes post-scratch. Symptoms starting. Fever, vision blurring, aggression building. I descended into the bunker. Duchess was waiting. She saw me, smelled the blood, hissed. "It's okay," I said. I'm infected. I don't have long." She approached carefully, sniffed my hand. Meowed, sad, understanding. I pulled out my audio recorder. Made my final log. "This is Marcus Webb, day 154. I'm infected. Scratch from combat encounter. Approximately 20 minutes until full turn. I helped someone today. Vanessa Torres, pregnant. She's alive because I acted instead of hiding. Patricia and Tyler are bringing her to this bunker. She'll have supplies, water, safety. She'll survive. I spent 154 days being a coward, watching people die, choosing myself over others. And today I chose differently. It cost me everything, but it was worth it. To whoever finds this, the bunker has enough supplies for 1 person for 2 more weeks. Water filtration works. Security camera system might still have battery life. Take care of Duchess. She's a pain in the ass, but she's good company. And if you find Vanessa Torres, tell her I'm sorry I couldn't do more. This is Marcus Webb, day 154, signing off. I set down the recorder. Symptoms accelerating. Severe fever. Violent urges building. Vision clouding. I had maybe 10 minutes of lucidity left. I hugged Duchess one last time. "You're the best cat I ever met." Meow. Translation: I know. I climbed the ladder, emerged into the maintenance shed, sealed the hatch from the outside, combination lock. Only Patricia knew the code. Vanessa would be safe. I walked out of the shed into the courtyard. 30 minutes post-scratch. I could feel myself losing it. Losing Marcus. Becoming something else. I dropped my weapons. Didn't want to accidentally hurt anyone while turning. 35 minutes. Aggression overwhelming. Fever burning. Eyes clouding. I fell to my knees. Looked up at the sky one last time. Clear. Stars visible. Beautiful. 40 minutes. I screamed. Then I stopped being Marcus Webb. Narrative perspective shifts to Vanessa Torres. I watched it happen through the security camera. Patricia had brought me to the bunker like Marcus instructed. Gave me the access code. Showed me the systems. And I watched Marcus die on camera 7. He stumbled across the courtyard, convulsing, fell, stood up again. His eyes were clouded. He'd turned. The man who'd just saved my life, who'd fought 5 infected to protect me, was now one of them. I cried, held this calico cat named Duchess who'd climbed into my lap. Cried for a stranger who'd sacrificed everything. Patricia and Tyler left 3 days later. Said they were still going to Fort Detrick, still searching for answers. I never saw them again. May 15th, day 193. My name is Vanessa Torres. I'm 8 months pregnant, and I'm alive because Marcus Webb chose to save me instead of hiding. I've been in this bunker for 6 weeks, living off the supplies he gathered, using the water filtration system he maintained, following the routines he established. Duchess is my constant companion. She sleeps on my stomach, purrs when the baby kicks, keeps me sane. I found Marcus's audio logs, all 154 days of them. I listened to every entry. I learned about his isolation, his guilt, his slow transformation from survivor to coward to hero. He spent 5 months watching people die. Then he died saving someone. Me. I don't know why. Don't know what changed in him, but I'm grateful. The infected presence outside has diminished. I count maybe 20 visible on the remaining functional cameras. The rest have either migrated, starved, or degraded. I see infected Marcus sometimes. He wanders through the courtyard like all the others. No recognition, no memory, just another monster. Except he's not. He's the man who gave me a future. I'm preparing for labor, using Marcus's medical supplies, reading his survival notes. I'll give birth here, raise my child here if necessary. And I'll tell my baby about Marcus Webb, about the security guard who hid for 5 months and then died being brave for 5 minutes. It's not a happy story, but it's a human one. And in this dead world, that matters. June 1st, day 210. I had my baby, a girl, healthy, perfect. I named her Marcy, after Marcus. Duchess has appointed herself as guardian, won't let Marcy out of her sight. We're a family now, strange, broken, but family. I recorded a message on Marcus's audio system. This is Vanessa Torres, day 210 since the outbreak, day 73 since Marcus Webb saved me. If you're hearing this, you survived too. I don't know how. I don't know for how long. But you're alive, and that matters. Marcus Webb spent 5 months in this bunker. He documented everything, his supplies, his strategies, his mistakes. He was a coward who became a hero. He died scared. He died guilty. But he died human. I'm alive because of him. My daughter exists because of him. If you're out there, stay hidden, stay smart, and if you get the chance to save someone, take it. Marcus did. It killed him. But it saved me. Maybe that's the point. This is Vanessa Torres, day 210. I'm still here, we're still here, and I'll keep recording. If you're listening, I hope you keep surviving too. Maybe we'll meet someday. Until then, stay safe out there. I ended the recording and held Marcy close. Duchess purred between us. Outside, the world was dead, but in this bunker there was life, and hope, and memory. Marcus Webb was gone, but his story would survive as long as I did. Here lies Marcus Webb. He survived 154 days by being selfish. He died saving a stranger. Remember him. VT. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. This is the end of The Watcher. Marcus Webb's story, Vanessa Torres' beginning, and somewhere in between a reminder that survival isn't just about staying alive, it's about staying human.